Today, we're going to look at the latest Ashes of Creation live stream that came out on August the 31st. I edited it down and only pulled out the interesting new information. So, in this first part of the video, we're going to hear Stephen talking about tab targeting action combat system and how you have to allocate points to different things in order to access the action part of the combat.
Now, we've said in the past that players will be able to allocate skill points into their active skills that are more geared towards either action combat or tab targeting. As an example, you can kind of see, these skills can have additional points allocated to them to unlock further features. Some of them can be tabbed to start and become action if you allocate additional skill points. And this is one of the ways that we kind of balance the skills between action and tab targeting, requiring additional skill points in order to unlock certain features of that skill, and then it becomes a tab or an action type skill.
In this portion of the video, he's talking about the AoE, the area of effect, the little area where you do damage.
Another important thing to note, let's see if we can get a few of these guys, is that all weapons have a forward cone to some degree. Based on the weapon type, it'll change. Pole arms, for example, will have a much wider arc and much further out. Daggers will have a more fine-tuned arc, so you have to be more precise in that regard. So if I pull this sword, if I pull a few of these macaws, let's see if we can grab a few of them. Come on over, buddies. So we have a few macaws here. Little buddies, I feel horrible. But you'll see as I attack, I'm hitting multiple numbers of these opponents. And that's important because all weapons, regardless of if you're in reticle mode or tab targeting mode, you will be able to have a action-based type weapon attack. Not active skill, but weapon attack. Let me pull this guy. So that's an important note. Weapons each have their own unique and individual forward arcs and distance that they deal damage to a target.
This next section of the live cast talks about castles, and there's a lot of information in this part, so this is a little bit longer.
So we just wanted to showcase a little bit of the castle implementation. We're just going to take you over near the castle and talk a little bit about it. You are still on the Alpha Island, but we are hoping to get castles online for some activity in Alpha 1. We're just going to kind of run around and show off the castle at its current state, which is owned by NPCs because no players have taken it. Want to head over there?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So up here you can see one of the castles. Probably those of you guys who participated in the Apocalypse testing recognize this castle in particular. This is a bacon constructed castle. This is a little bit smaller than actually the size of the castles and how they'll actually be in the game at launch. But this kind of will be more facilitating smaller battles, I think, in Alpha 1. But initially, as probably most of you are aware, before players do actually take castles, they will be owned by monsters. So this one is currently owned by monsters. And basically how it's going to work is guilds will be capable of signing up to attack these castles. And, we've kind of talked a little bit about this in the past, but the guild that signs up to attack, multiple guilds may do so. They're going to initially be fighting these monsters and killing a raid boss that'll be kind of in the center of the castle. What we're thinking right now is that in order to initially take the castle from the NPC control, rather than using the normal sealing mechanic that's cast on the center relic, instead the raid boss will be essentially killed by the number of players out there, and the highest contributing damage to the raid boss for the initial capture of the castle will be the determining factor for the guild. We're going to test this, obviously. You know, we have a couple of other ideas as well. The whole purpose of alpha and the betas is to test these ideas and see how they play out. Now, there's a lot of stuff outside of just killing, you know, the raid boss that's important to take a castle.
In this section, we get more info about the castles. Also, did you notice the variety of spells and attacks in the game? That's really nice. A lot of different spells, different attacks and things. And also, all the mounts will run at the same speed. Even though they're different features, one is a horse and one is a lizard, they all run the same speed. So let's have a listen and get some more info about the castles.
Oh, nice. Did you give me mana?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to note about the castles is they do
Too close, Toast.
have
Too close.
a lot of trophies for the guilds that manage to take them and keep them. As a matter of fact, the benefits for holding a castle actually get greater the longer a guild holds onto its castle. So each cycle, which is a 30-day cycle before it gets sieged again, the benefits of the castle get stronger. They exert control and pressure over the region, one of the 5 main economic regions they exert control over. They can levy taxes against the nodes under them. They can establish essentially the quote-unquote king's presence or queen's presence within the node system that grants benefits to the citizens that are under its rule. And they can have special relationships established with the mayors as well to help participate in kind of building up the nodes that spawn around the castle, these castle dedicated nodes. They're not tied into the structure of the general world node structure, but they're kind of dedicated to helping to build up the castle's defenses and the economic benefits that come along with owning the castle.
I know there were a few comments and concerns in regards to obviously the difficulty of that because as Steven said, you're going to have to like break down gates, you're going to have to like kind of progress and
Right.
push. It's not going to be that easy. We're just kind of showing like, yeah.
Just to be clear, when we were running in there, so when the castle siege occurs, it'll be different than what you saw there. That's just kind of in its unowned state. If there's no owner, there will be little monsters, and you can kind of go in and fight on the off siege time when it's not siege time. Then when siege time occurs, you know, guilds will have a week period of time where they can kind of register and come and attack. And during the 2-hour long siege, that's when everything changes. The portcullises go down, the gates go down, you'll need siege weaponry. There's going to be specific objectives within the castles that you'll have to conquer, and then there'll be, if it's an unowned castle, it'll need to have a raid boss at the center that kind of gets fought for. Attackers can fight each other during that experience. It's going to be a contesting thing. Once the castle is owned by a guild, that's when the supporting castle nodes start to come online and spawn each week prior to the 4th week castle siege. And they'll have to form alliances. They'll have to get support. They'll have to get resources. They'll be able to allocate funds that have been collected through taxation in order to strengthen the defenses, as well as hiring additional NPC mercenaries, you know, that type of thing. So there's a lot of systems that go into the castle sieges. Really, we were just kind of showing off the castle itself and kind of running around in the little
Okay, did you hear that? A 2-hour siege window. So Castle Siege will last for 2 hours. That's kind of a long time. I think they're going to have to tweak that. Also coming up in this section is info on castle caravans. You will not be able to attack your own castle's caravan, even though that's kind of sneaky and a good way to get a lot of stuff. You won't be able to do it.
100%. And there may something that might not have been revealed previously, but each week leading up to the siege week, right? So it's a 4-week period of time that the castle is owned. Each week is a week that's dedicated to one of the 3 castle dedicated nodes. So around the castle, there are 3 nodes. They represent week 1, 2, and 3. And then the 4th week is the siege against the castle. Those can only be elevated up to stage 3. We've discussed this, you know, in the past, and there's definitely information out there on the community ran wiki and other stuff. But what we haven't expressed is that on the tax collection side, castles do collect taxes from their region, which encompasses 1/5 of the world territory. And within those regions are nodes that spawn, right, naturally. And at the end of each week, there is a period of time on the weekend where NPC generated caravans from those nodes start moving towards one of the castle nodes. And during that period of time, it's incumbent on the owning guild and its allies, or even the citizens of the nodes that fall under its purview, to escort those caravans to the castle's dedicated one of 3 nodes. Those caravans carry the castle taxes. So the incentive to essentially attack those caravans as they move to build the castle dedicated nodes on the enemies of that guild are very high, not only because of the reward that you can reap in kind of sabotaging that tax collection, but also in destabilizing or reducing the defensive capability of the castle itself, because it depends on those dedicated nodes around the castle in order to have strong defenses. Now, citizens of nodes that fall under the purview of the castle may not participate in the attack of those caravans. They are automatically registered as the defenders of those caravans. And that's important because certain benefits, it's a reciprocal relationship between the castle and its nodes, essentially. There are benefits granted to citizens of the castle, and the longer that the castle remains in the hands of its incumbent guild, the stronger the benefits become overall. But at the same time, that represents a greater incentive to attack the castle because the rewards will get greater over time also. So just to give you a little bit more information, on it. So like, yeah, you could zoom all the way into your character and get that kind of camera perspective from the eyes, but you're not going to get any of the correlating typical first person animations with arms and stuff like that.
That was good information for me, since I'm a content creator. I want full control of the camera all the time. And I don't know if I'm going to get that, but it's nice not to have your hands and sword and stuff in the picture. Now, this is a fan favorite. Look at the turtle! Ah. Let me be quiet so you can hear it. I love those sounds it makes. I love the animation. I love that it has that grunty sound to it. I don't know if turtles make those sounds in real life, but it seems appropriate. Here it is swimming. So it will be amphibious, both on land and water. You'll be able to ride it on both.
User left your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
Not my channel, that's somebody else's channel. I hope. See, it's a mount, and you can see how big it is here. You can see that it jumps over rocks and logs and things. As I said earlier, it's going to be the same speed as a horse. Oh, sideways movement, nice. Okay, see that other turtle? Now I want turtle fights. Yeah, I want mounted turtle fights now. I love this music. The buildings are Junior buildings, I believe. I wonder if they make armor for this turtle. I guess it has its own armor.
So Archie McQueen wants to know, in the aftermath of a node siege, when freeholds can be attacked, are these attacks only allowed for participants of the siege, or can other players come as raiders to lay waste to freeholds as well?
In its current design, it is possible for anyone to attack the freeholds, not just the attackers. That might be changed. We'll see how testing goes. But at the moment, essentially what happens is the freehold becomes vulnerable for a period of time. And then after that period of time, there is a grace period extended for the freehold if it survives that vulnerable period. And that grace period could last up to 1 week, where if another node spawns at stage 3 or above and it falls under that node's zone of influence, the owner of the freehold can.
That was a really good question and a really big answer. I don't think anybody knew that was going to be the case.
Keep those resumes coming in. We're looking at all of them, and we still got a lot to hire. So.
Yep. So we'll be seeing you soon with a lot more folks on our team, and we're going to continue to pump out some amazing content. We'll see you next month for another dev update. And thank you so much again for all of your support. Doodles.
Bye, guys.
And that was the live stream recap. There's a lot of good information, a lot of new information in there. If you would like to join the community, head over to ashesofcreation.com. And if you could just sign up with my referral link, that would help me out a lot. Helps me keep making this show. And then you'll have access to the store, the forums, the videos, the screenshots, the leaks, everything. And you can participate in the community with us. I hope you enjoyed this show, and thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.